What's up, guys? I don't really know what the heck I'm doing right now. This is an experiment in of itself. So I'm going to the University of Newcastle for study abroad and just kind of experimenting with the idea of doing a vlog for it. Probably going to do an actual one down there, and it's not going to be this boring where you just stare at my face. DU Abroad, and the Office of International Education at the University of Denver, where I go to school every other time I'm in college, is asking for people to submit vlogs or written blogs. I don't like the writing part, so I'm doing the video version. And basically, we have to submit a kind of like a preview almost, like why we chose to go to wherever we're going. Like I said, I'm going to the University of Newcastle in Newcastle, Australia. Yeah, it's gonna be much more exciting than just listening to me talk. So I'm just gonna quickly get all this stuff out of the way for what the abroad office wants. For me, that was actually pretty simple because I've already been to Europe. I've done a cruise of Northern Europe around the Baltic Sea, and I know I'm going to do the Mediterranean and England and Ireland in the future at some point. Australia, though, is like, at least in my opinion, a harder place to go to. One, because of how big it is. Like, you can't just go there for a week and see everything. Like, you can go to England and take a train for a couple hours from London to Manchester or Liverpool, but you can't take a train from Sydney on the east coast of Australia to Perth on the west coast in like a few hours. And it was just kind of one of those, like, I'm not going to go back to Australia, probably just because, like, it's expensive, like $2,000 or so round trip flight. Then that's just the flight itself. That doesn't include hotel for 2-3 weeks, traveling in the country. Like, it's an expensive vacation to go do. So that kind of made me like decide, yeah, I want to go to Australia because I'm not going to really get another chance to do this. And Newcastle really was just kind of an easier one for me because I am a biology and film production double major, and most like specific programs that there are in Australia don't cater to both of those at once. Newcastle allows me to like be general in their application. Like, it doesn't really matter what major you are, so I can go ahead and pick that out and go take whatever classes. Like, I'm gonna take a Australian film and television class when I'm there. That's the plan. So it was really just that or Tasmania were my two choices, and Newcastle was the top one because I love going to the beach. I love being near the sea. I live in Ellicott City, Maryland, outside of Baltimore, so I live on the coast. And Newcastle was an interesting contrast to Denver, where I'm still in a city, but I'm not in the mountains. I'm near the water. And being a guy who's looking at marine biology as a career, I thought I'd go ahead and try that out. So, I don't really have that many like hopes and fears that much for study abroad. Goals are mainly just live there, meet a lot of people, kind of like figure out their cultural differences compared to ours. Like, one of the classes I'm taking is Australian politics and government, which you probably can't take anywhere in the US. And the only reason I'm taking that is because I want to see how their government runs compared to ours, parliamentary system versus bicameral legislature. And I just kind of want to like live there, live in the country, go see a rugby game because you don't see any rugby games here. Hopefully I'll accomplish most of my goals. That's like my only hope for the entire trip. There's not that much to it. Fears: don't get robbed. Don't have my passport stolen. Let's stay away from that. In terms of preparation, really haven't done much different than preparing for other colleges stuff. It's like, gotta have like housing application, had to do that, got that in. Have my COE, confirmation of enrollment. My visa's all set. I got my passport renewed back in December, sometime over winter break. Now really all I have to do is just pack. I've got these little adapters for outlets, so I can plug my computer into the wall and not have an issue with that, or my phone charger or whatever, because electronics and technology are the way the world goes around right now. But really, there's not too much how I'm preparing any differently. Just like pack clothes, do laundry. I've read up on like what the campus is like, how I'm going to get around. Learned that the Brisbane airport has an international terminal and a domestic terminal, which are like two separate airports that are connected by a bus. So figure stuff out like that. That's my recommendation if you're going to prepare for this. Like, see the airport you're heading to, so you know, like, do I have to leave security? Do I have to come, like, can I stay inside the airport? I don't have to like go outside for anything. Take a bus 10 minutes up the road to another airport, basically. I got myself onto Newcastle's free transit for international students from the airport to this school, so I got that down. So, I think that's it for part one. The preview, I guess, is what we're gonna call this. Like Sharknado 2, the second one, I guess is gonna be the name. It's not gonna really be that intense. But, for those of you who've stuck around and are not bored out of your minds by now, because I wasn't intending for this to actually be interesting. The interesting stuff happens in like a week and a half when I get on the plane and go there. This is the boring stuff called a submission, and we'll see how that goes. So I guess I'll go ahead and edit this and submit it now, and talk to y'all later. Bye.
Where you